Hello everyone and welcome to Tripp's art class. It is October, so in Tripp's art class that means it is Inktober. So what I did here was I sketched out a little very simplistic, kind of cute, funny Frankenstein monster drawing here, and now I'm going to ink it with all of you guys. So I wanted to go over a few things. One is tools. Now this right here, this is my tool pack where I have all my art tools in it. As you can see, there's all types of stuff in it. And what I want to encourage you to do is have some type of pencil case or some type of pack where you keep all of your art tools together. That is very important in arts, is to have a place where you have your tools. That way when I go somewhere, I just grab this right here, this pencil case, and then I have all my art tools. Now this one is by a company called Rough Enough, and I really like them because the interior is quality just like the outerior, and it's kind of rugged by design. The zipper is pretty solid as well. So have some place where you keep your art tools. So for this project, I'm probably going to be using a brush pen. I'm going to have that out. I have my fine tip Sharpie pen. I always like those. I'm going to have that one out. And then I'm going to just have on hand to a regular, this is a Bic pen right here, B-I-C, a Bic pen. So I'm going to have that out as well. And I might, let's see, play around with just a regular kind of more of a felt tip pen marker as well. So I have all those handy. I'm not for sure if I'm going to use all those, but they are here at my disposal, ready to use. Now I always like to start with the thinnest tip pen first, and in this case that is a classic Bic pen. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and just kind of very loosely throw in some inking. Now what's neat about the Bic pens is you can kind of treat them like a pencil, where you can just more traditionally sketch with, because they are so thin you can go over the lines multiple times until it becomes thick. Now notice how I'm working from left to right. That is for a reason, because I use professional drawing pencils on this art piece, so as I move my hand over it, it is going to smear, which is not a problem because I don't need those lines anymore because I'm inking them, and then I can go back over it all and erase it with just a regular pencil. Now the Bic pens are not always reliable. You're gonna have to maybe have a piece of scratch paper around to kind of warm them up. But as you can see right here, what I'm doing is I'm kind of using hatching here. Not really so much cross hatching, but hatching to really add some very thin lines, which is kind of fun, which is why I like using the Bic pens. Now you don't have to use multiple pens, but I'm just kind of showing you that no matter what type of pen you have, you can participate in Inktober and create this type of artwork. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there for now. You kind of get the point how those work. Then I'm going to go through in other areas that might need some really thin line work. Go ahead and put those, maybe even right here as well. If you like to ink in kind of a sketch style, these are great. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that away. I'm not done with it. I don't think I am. I'm just gonna put it away for right now. Then I'm gonna go to my fine tip Sharpie pen. This is one of my go-to pens when it comes to inking. You can kind of see you don't really have to apply too much pressure when you're using these pens. When you do ink, when you do draw, make sure your hand is loose. don't have it be too tight. You don't want to get carpal tunnel. Some people are so nervous when they draw. Their hands are just super, super tight, and drawing should really be a relaxing activity. So just loosen up your hand, relax. It's okay if you mess up, it doesn't have to be perfect. Some artists now use computer programs, computer software, and apps like Adobe Illustrator, where you're not just drawing with rasterized lines, but you're drawing with pretty much algorithms where the lines are perfect. And you can make some really nice looking artwork, but you kind of lose the human touch, the human air. And when you make mistakes, and not too many of them, but when you make some mistakes, it adds to that human touch, where people can tell it was actually created by a human. Now, notice here, if I were just to draw one line, some of my students, when they ink, they've been having the problem where they don't understand, or they're not practicing line width variety, which is also called line weight. They're not doing that. All they're doing is just inking. They're just going over it one time, which is a form of inking, but it's not really what I would say quality inking. It's kind of like the get it done quickly version of it. So when you ink, make sure you, number one, add some form of shading if it's hatching or cross hatching. I know some people like stippling. I'm not the biggest fan of stippling. That's just me. I like it when other people do it, but I just don't. I don't really do it much. But I love hatching and cross hatching. So you see here, if we just go over our lines once, they're really thin. So what we can do is go over them multiple times. Or what you can do is use a brush pen. Here's the famous Pentel pocket brush pen that so many artists swear by. So what's neat about this is I can add line, weight, and variety by pushing down, and then I'm going to pull up. So in just one brush stroke, I'm going to push down, then I'm going to come up. See, and then you can add a lot of weight just with one brush stroke. I can do that here as well. Say, I want it to be light, and then it gets thicker here. Be light here, and then it gets thicker. See that line? There's weight to it. It's light and then heavy. It's thin and then thick. The same thing with the hair up here. Go from thick to thin. Do the same thing here. The brush pen does take practice to get used to. I personally don't like to use a brush pen on every part of my illustrations or drawings. Just for some. But it can save you time. Instead of having to go back and make all those lines thicker and thinner in areas, you can just do it with one swipe if you have control. I went back and switched to my Sharpie, fine tip Sharpie. I have to be careful now because those lines are a little bit wet. So I'm gonna have to turn my paper. You might be noticing there are smear marks on my paper, but that is okay because we can always just go back and erase all of our pencil work when we're all done. That's the fun part about inking. You do all the inking. When you're done, you go back and erase those pencil marks, and it's like they were never there. And people who don't know much about arts are like, whoa, how did you do that with pen? And you're like, well, you really sketched it first, but they don't have to know that. So from this point, I'm gonna begin to kind of shade in here with hatching. The monster's boots or shoes, whatever they are. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in the little chin area. And then I'm going to go ahead and maybe kind of throw in some shading here. I'm going to turn this a little bit and kind of work on the top of the head. That line, the Bic pencil line, was really, really light. Which is good and bad at the same time. This is kind of a relaxing, kind of fun process of inking. And then I can think, maybe I can add some hatching here. Maybe a little bit on the hands. This area right here. Maybe I want to throw in some pockets. There's pockets in this suit. Maybe this part right here is just kind of worn. There's a little patch. Throw in some patching here. Even throw in some patching there as well. Kind of like we did on the with the hair. And a few little areas here. So inking is so much more than just going over your lines with ink pen. So much more than that. Inking's the time where you can really put in those more fine details and make your artwork really come to life. No pun intended in dealing with Frankenstein. Okay, so there we go. Those are the pens I used right here. Okay, you saw those. And what I'm going to do now is take my trusty kneaded eraser, or you can use a regular traditional eraser. The only difference is this one doesn't leave eraser crumbs, this one does all over your desk. So I'm probably going to use this one and then begin to erase all the pencil that is still there.
The accountability code for today is Poodle. Once again, the accountability code for today is Poodle, P-O-O-D-L-E.
When you erase, what you can also do is erase all the light smudging that took place on the exterior page area of your sketchbook. Now, after you erase, there's always a few things that you might notice because that pencil's no longer there. And you might notice a few things that could still be added to your artwork to make it a little bit more interesting. So we're going to go back and focus on those little areas. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and stop there. And there is our inked drawing for one of our Inktober days that I got to do. So when you ink your artwork, make sure you do it the same way. Make sure you, after you sketch it, you go through and you really put in the detail. Make sure you don't just go over the lines one time, but you need to go over those lines and add line weights, which we also call line variety. Make sure you add value to it. Make sure you add some hatching to really make even something as simple as this character kind of pop and stand out. So thanks for hanging out at Troops Art Class, and we will catch you later.